Hello, I'm Christopher McGee, uh, founder of the Moore Society, the non-profit organization dedicated to the cultural and ethnic education of Black Americans. Uh, this recording is about the Moore Society's Temple of African Tradition. Religion is a system of beliefs, but spirituality is the way of faith and life. The Temple of African Tradition. The inspiration to this institution was a need for religious insight. There's over 3,000 practices of African tradition throughout the continent of Africa, and it is believed to be the origin of the Bible, the Torah, which is the basis for the gospel, and it's supposed to be the origin of the Holy Quran. The purpose and activities for the Temple of African Tradition: it is a temple of Black American men and women with religious purpose. The purpose of this organization is to explore African tradition and African folklore, to find the connections with it and Judeo-Christianity and Islam. Historians and study groups will explore the Torah, the Holy Quran, and the Gospel of Christ to find links to ancient Nubian, ancient Ethiopian, and other African ethnic groups. This institution, as researchers study and make connections between the sacred books and the ancient world of African tradition, members of the Moore Society community can establish a more genuine understanding of their religious beliefs, establish a genuine understanding that will reconnect the roots of monotheistic religion to their African origin, and will return the spirit of the words to the daily religious practice of members and their families. Now, the Temple of African Tradition, because it is part of the Moore Society, would primarily focus on cultural religion. That is, understanding not so much the beliefs of people like Jesus, Abraham, Muhammad, but really more beliefs in relationship to their way of life, understanding how their families, their extended families, and their communities function, how they entertain their children, how they cared for their elderly, how they cared for the deceased, how they saw marital relationships, and how men, women, and their extended families facilitated marital relationships. Our focus is more understanding the world in which they live, the challenges they faced, and how their challenges and their hard work and sacrifices would impact their way of life more so than what they choose to believe. Now, that's the primary of this institution, but there is an additional aspect for the purpose and activities, and that is this is a school of philosophy for Black American men and women with religious purpose. It is an institution of higher learning that focuses on the philosophies of practice of the 12 most influential religions of the world. The purpose of this program will be to learn what may be regarded as the pros and cons of each religion and to find the common ground between them. We also want to understand a link, each religion as it is, particular to its own unique culture. Our goal is to create an environment that is more than just religiously tolerant, but religiously and culturally literate. Understanding the faith of our neighbors, our brethren, even those that are non-Negroid, will go a long way towards building our lives and expanding our influence as an institution over the years as we blossom. If you're going to explore the Negro world, even just African Americans. It's not just the black people in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, but we have descendants of Africans from Canada to Argentina. And as we began to move into places like Argentina, Venezuela, Brazil, and interacting with African Americans in that part of the world, the more knowledge we have of different cultures and the different religious influences of that sector, the better prepared we'll be to meet our brethren on the common ground. As the Temple of African Tradition is a church, but far from being what most black people would regard as a traditional church. As I said, it's primarily cultural in terms of its focus. Now, then there is the second part of that institution is the African American School of Thought, the School of African Life and Spiritualism. It's, quote, the prophets of the Round Table. Now, the African American School of Thought is part of the religious temple, but it's not primarily religious. This is a hall of thinkers. The idea here with the temple the idea with the African American School of Thought is to look at the Negro and where they are in the world and focus on the last 100 years or more and try to look at the past, present, and future through the eyes of certain dynamic Black American or Negroid thinkers. Think of W.E.B. Du Bois and the Talented Tenth, Booker T. Washington, Education of the Masses. You've got Frederick Douglass, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. You have Stephen Biko. You've got Nelson Mandela. You have very powerful, very dynamic Black American philosophers and activists who have been on the front line, who have seen the challenges that our people face, long-term, short-term challenges. And the idea is to see if we can't get our minds around the possibilities of where we've been, where we are, and where we can be, so that we can find that philosophical perspective that will best suit our needs in terms of building a future. Basically, a table of thinkers, a group of men and women, intelligent, professional people, working to explore the philosophy, the education, and the views of each thinker, and creating forums and debates, and just broadening our perspective on where we could be as a people depending on which philosophy we follow. Like I said, it's a deep program, and it's going to have a profound impact on our community and the educational leadership of our community. So it's very important, very important. These two institutions, the Temple of African Tradition and the African American School of Thought, are major pieces of the Moore Society's puzzle. One of the 12 institutions underneath this umbrella, and would make a major contribution in our effort to develop a more genuine African American culture. Thank you for your time. There'll be more videos coming up. I want you to keep your eyes open for the making of a Moore woman, the making of a Moore man, the making of a Moore family, marital relations, community. There's going to be videos that are meant to stimulate thought, provoke thought, to hopefully give some insight to those who may have questions. Young people making important life decisions at an early age, trying to shape their minds around the different challenges and different questions they have about life, and that's what it's about. And the idea is to just scratch the surface on some of the things we're going to be teaching, as well as helping young people young and old, just broaden their perspective through our exploration of culture. Okay, well, thank you for your time, and keep your ears open for upcoming videos.